players in the league, two-time champ. Now you catch him calling Lakers games. Mychal Thompson, we appreciate you joining us today. How are you doing?
I'm doing good. Good to talk to you guys.
I love this. Look, we mentioned the fact you're a two-time champ, and you've been doing these Lakers games. Shout out to John Ireland for me. But what's crazy is that a lot of folks know you as Klay and Trace's dad, which I always find hilarious. So professional family, athletes across the board. Who's the best one?
The best athlete?
Yeah.
You know, my boys argue about this all the time about who's the best athlete in our family. And it comes down to their mother. Their mother's the best athlete.
Oh, okay. Wow. Okay.
Michelle, she was in high school, she was a pentathlete. You guys know what that is? No, a heptathlete.
Yeah.
You know what that is, right?
Yep.
The heptathlete, the ladies who run 8 different events. So she was a hurdler, long jumper. Then in college, she was a volleyball player. She could dunk a tennis ball at 5'9". So, and she can, and her age, I won't tell you what her age is, but she can still do handstands and backflips at her age right now.
Okay, well,
she is the best
Michelle
athlete.
just won.
Right.
We changed the
and
question next time.
And here we are thinking Klay's awesome for being able to shoot while she's doing all that.
We're doing everything. By the way, was there a moment, do you remember the moment when Klay and you're out there and there's a basketball involved and all of a sudden you're like, oh, okay, no, he's got it?
Yeah, Michelle, that's a great question. I remember the exact moment. My wife looked at me like I was crazy. And you guys will probably think I'm crazy too. You guys will think I'm the next LeVar Ball or Earl Woods saying this. But I distinctly remember, and I always thought all my boys would be an athlete, but in Klay specifically, he was at a basketball game around 9, 10 years old. And he was a point guard. He was running everything. He was knocking down threes from NBA range at that age. And I was filming it on the old camcorders. You guys remember the old Sony camcorders. And my wife was sitting next to me in this little sort of small JV high school gym. And I told her, I said, that boy's going to be in the league someday and could be a Hall of Famer. She looked at me like I was crazy. She told me, I remember what she said, I just wanted to be a good boy and a good student. I don't care about that stuff.
Yeah. And here we are. Here we are. By the way, was there one-on-one in y'all's day? Like, did that happen? And did he take you at some point?
Oh, yeah. I definitely played one-on-one against all my sons. And with Klay and Mychal, the basketball players specifically, by the time they turned 14, I couldn't beat them anymore because that time they were starting to get a little strong, a little bigger. I just couldn't back them down and just, score in the post like I'm Kareem Abdul-Jabbar or something. So I actually had to guard them when I missed. And by the time they were 14, I couldn't stay with them anymore.
Amazing.
Mychal, I gotta tell you, I was in Klay's same draft class and I was actually in his workout in Golden State. And I remember I had such a good workout and my buddies texted me like, oh, who was in the workout? And I was like, as good as I played, I promise you, they're going to draft this dude, Klay Thompson, because he bust my ass. He couldn't miss. It was the best workout I've ever seen in my life. And then they go and draft him. So I just want to tell you that this dude was so cold in his workout, and man, I knew right away that they were taking him.
Yeah, that's amazing, Chandler, because you know how those workouts go. So everybody's observing it, and everybody has an opinion on different players. And every time Klay would go to all these workouts, like the top 10 teams in the draft would bring him in, including Charlotte, Sacramento, New York, and Minnesota. They all worked out Klay. They all liked him. Wayne Cooper at the time was the assistant GM at Sacramento. He begged them to draft Klay over Jimmy Fredette, but the owners overruled him, and they picked Jimmy Fredette.
Oh, no.
Charlotte, he worked out in front of Michael Jordan in Charlotte. They had 2 picks in the top 10. And I said, how'd you do? He said, oh, man, I played great. Michael Jordan really liked me. I said, well, maybe you'll play for Jordan. But, of course, they took Kemba Walker and Bismack Biyombo over him. So, and then I was the good friends with the GM at the Minnesota Wolves at the time, David Kahn. We were tennis buddies. We were tennis partners playing up in Portland because he worked for the Portland paper up there. So we played tennis all the time. And I remember talking to David. I said, David, you got the second pick in the draft. You got Ricky Rubio. You got Kevin Love. Klay and Kevin grew up together in Lake Oswego. They played Little League baseball together. They played basketball together and youth sports. I say, draft Klay, man, because him and Kevin are best friends. Kevin used to hang out at our house all the time on the weekends. So they know each other. And you have Ricky Rubio. You need a shooting guard to go along with Kevin Love and Ricky Rubio. It'd be a perfect fit. You know what David Kahn told me at the time?
Oh no.
He's not a first round pick.
Oh wow. Well, he was wrong, and it looks like everything worked out anyway. So
yeah,
everyone was wrong.
Yeah. So there's that. I want to talk a little Lakers with you. A few weeks ago, you tweeted that you felt like that seeding didn't matter to the Lakers, and they were the team to beat in the West. this thing changes by the day. Do you still stand on that? Do you still feel that way for the Lakers, even after last night's loss, which was an incredible game, by the way?
Yeah, I still feel the Lakers can get all the way to the finals and play the Cleveland or Boston or get to the West Finals, of course. But last night was the worst loss of the season for me. My partner, John Ireland, said, worst loss of the season because we lost to Charlotte, some other teams. I said, yes, all those losses are bad, Chandler, as you know, but there are some games that are special, that are different. And last night was one of those games. You're fighting for playoff seeding. You got the Warriors in your building. This game is hyped up beyond every other game during the season, hottest ticket of the year, and you come out and lay an egg like you did last night, just completely got outplayed. To me, that was the most disappointing loss of the year.
And after last night, do you feel like the Lakers should try to avoid Golden State in the first round or no?
No, man, you can't think that way. Chandler, as a player, you can't be scared of anybody. You can't be trying to manipulate the standings and worried about this or that. No, you got to have confidence in yourself. You got to say, bleep those guys. We don't care who they are. We're going to go win. If you play scared, you might as well don't even play in the playoffs.
Yeah. I hear you on that. And so now even after a loss like that, what is the Lakers' actual ceiling this season? Realistically, are they title contenders or is there a favorable matchups for them? What's your take on what they can actually do this postseason?
Favorable matchups, I don't care about that. They've had some good success against Minnesota, against Denver, Oklahoma City. We really haven't seen them yet. So it doesn't matter to me about the matchups. When you bring in Luka Doncic, when you have Luka and LeBron on your team, Chandler, Michelle, guys, it's championship or bust. I mean, come on, just getting to the playoffs and you got Luka and LeBron on your team and a solid three like Austin Reeves and a good bunch of supporting players around you. No, you better win the title or else it's a major disappointment. The Lakers don't just play to make the playoffs. They're here to win the championship, and that's why they made that trade for Luka.
Yeah, there's high expectations when you do that. So you've seen Luka up close now for a while. What would you say the most impressive part of his game is?
Well, how he plays at his own pace, Chandler. You can't hurry him up. You can't rush him or make him play fast. He just plays at his own pace, and of course his court vision. I think he probably has the second best court vision in the game next to Jokic. And you have guys like him and LeBron on your team. You have two great playmakers who can get people involved. That's why last night's game was so disappointing because their offense just bogged down and they just couldn't solve the Warrior defense. And that's why it was so disappointing to me. But his court vision is just some of the best that's ever been in the game.
Are you surprised? I'm sorry. Are you surprised at how seamless Luka and LeBron has been paired this year and the way that they've been playing?
No, not at all. When you have great players like that with high basketball IQs, they can adjust and adapt to any situation and are with any teammates. And any teammates will adapt to them because they make the game so easy for their teammates. So have a guy like Luka come in and fit in seamlessly, that's expected for a player of his caliber, at his level.
And Michael, I was one of the people, I was like, man, this is a tough job for JJ Redick to take, first-year head coach, la la land, like high expectations. Do you think he should be getting more consideration for Coach of the Year, or is that, Atkinson, JB Bickerstaff, the job they've done is slightly more impressive?
Yeah, JJ will get some consideration, small consideration, but the job that JB and Atkinson have done, they definitely are ahead. And also Dagno in Oklahoma City, don't forget about him, my goodness. So those three guys have done such a great job that other coaches are going to get lost in their dust but JJ's definitely done an excellent job with the Lakers this year. And doesn't surprise me. He's always been a confident kind of guy who's always been confident in himself, always had a high basketball IQ. So him going right from the broadcast booth to the coaching level, someone like Pat Riley did and other coaches have done, doesn't surprise me that he's having this kind of success at all.
Yeah, and long term, do you think he's the best fit for a Luka to stay there and retire, be a Laker for a long, long time?
Oh yeah, for the next 10 years, I can see these two guys paired up. JJ's young, just getting started. Luka is only 26, and the way he plays the game, he can play till he's 40 at this high level because he plays below the rim. So those two guys are going to have a long-standing relationship here, and as they should be because they seem to really gel together well.
That's what Dallas does. Michael, though, be careful. Dallas got a little blindsided with that move too.
Yeah, that's true. But the Lakers really appreciate a face of a franchise like Luka. He's so young. He's so fan-friendly. He's so nice to everybody. And, of course, he produces on the court. So he's tailor-made for a star-driven city like Los Angeles because he has such a great personality. He embraces everything that goes along with being the face of the franchise. So he's a perfect fit here in LA. So you're right. Trades can happen. Anybody can get traded. If Kareem Abdul-Jabbar can get traded, anybody can get traded, of course. So, but I expect Luka to be here for the next 10 years. I'd be surprised if he isn't. Of course, people in Dallas were saying the same thing, like you said.
I mean, nothing can be shocking anymore. Michael, I don't want to give oxygen to like the actual conversation that went down, but I do want your perspective. The night that LeBron confronted Stephen A, because it's just not something you see. We see hugging it out. We see all that kind of, seeing celebrities, all that. But to have like a confrontation like that, what did you think when you saw that? Or did you even realize what was happening?
I didn't realize what was happening at the time. I saw Stephen A. Smith sitting courtside. And, of course, during the game, you're looking around. You're doing other things, especially during timeouts during the game. So I didn't understand. I didn't really see LeBron and Stephen A. having a conversation or a one-way conversation during the timeout. But what LeBron did when he confronted or approached Stephen A., I can't blame him. He's a father. And I think LeBron got upset because maybe he thought Stephen A. was questioning his judgments as a father. And that would upset anybody or any mother of anybody who's questioning your parental situations or guidance or abilities. So I think that's what he was mostly upset about. And I can't blame him for that.
Yeah. Parenting questions.
Michael, we haven't had you on since obviously the Luka trade, and that was such a big splash. And a big reason why Klay wanted to go to Dallas also was to play with Luka. How shocked was he? Did anyone in that locker room see this coming? I know it was like happened in very discreet way. Like, how shocked was Klay when the trade went through?
Like everybody else, shocked and surprised. But I told him, listen, you're losing a great player like Luka, but don't forget who you got coming into Dallas. Anthony Davis, to me, the second best big man in the game, who can dominate on both ends, who can get you 40, 20 in the game. And I told Klay, I said, listen, yes, you're losing Luka. This is when Kyrie is healthy, of course. But with the addition of Anthony Davis and Max Christie, who's an excellent wing player and a good defender who can shoot, I said, you guys are probably going to be even better because you got with Davis, Lively, and Gafford, you got the best rim protection in the game. You've got a guy who can get you 40 and 20 and 4 or 5 blocks during the playoffs when you're going to really need him when things really count. So, yes, losing Luka's a disappointment, but you didn't trade him for some backup center or some role player. You're getting yourself a legitimate all-NBA big man who's only 32 and got 4 or 5 prime years left. So even though he was disappointed to lose Luka because he liked him personally and as a teammate, but I say, man, just appreciate Anthony Davis because he's going to make your life a lot easier having that big guy to bail you out of situations.
Preach, Michael. I feel like AD actually gets like no love when we talk about this at all. It feels very disrespectful.
Yeah. You know what it is, Michelle, because they all got hurt and he missed 18 games, so people forgot how great he is. I
know. It's and then you get to see him the other night and you're like, oh, that's right. That's what he can do.
Right.
Before Klay chose the Mavs, we were all trying to guess like, well, he's a boat guy and he needs a body of water. Like, were you trying to recruit him to come and be a Laker and just be around you and have the perfect situation? Was that a conversation?
Of course. Are you kidding me? We were talking about how the perfect situation was to finish his career for the team that he admired and rooted for growing up because he was a Kobe guy, like everybody his age at the time. And he and Kobe used to work out together. He loved the Lakers. We used to talk about if he couldn't be a Warrior, wouldn't it be great to finish his career with the Lakers? Like you said, Michelle, he's got his boat right there in Marina Del Rey. His house is actually 5 or 10 minutes away from the practice facility in Hermosa Beach. So everything was perfect for him to finish his career here. His family's here. His nephew and niece are here. He could see them grow up for the next few years together. They can come to his games. So I thought it was the perfect situation for him to finish his career here. And it sounded like he was leaning that way. And then when we hung up the phone, and then the next thing I knew, he was going to talk to Luka and Kyrie. He's a good friend of Kyrie's. And they convinced him to come to Dallas over here. But I always thought that this would be a perfect fit for him, even though I'm sure things will work out in Dallas, but I just thought this would be a perfect place for him to finish his career.
Wow. Absolutely. Michael, I want to ask you about this GOAT conversation that we continue to have. You know, usually when that conversation comes up, it's Michael Jordan, LeBron James, Kobe Bryant, in whatever order. But we never hear Kareem in that conversation. 6 NBA titles, 6 MVP awards. Why do you think Kareem's never a part of that conversation?
Because you guys are too young. You don't guys remember Kareem. You know, You guys think that people like you youngsters think that the NBA started when ESPN came on board, when Michael Jordan joined the league. But you're right. To me, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar is the greatest player ever. He's the greatest high school player ever. He's the greatest college player ever by far. And when you look at his resume in the NBA, 6 MVPs, 5 MVP finals MVPs. So to me, he's the greatest ever. And if you say Jordan's the greatest, you say LeBron, even Kobe, you're not a nut. You're not crazy to think that way, of course. But to me, yeah, Kareem is way often overlooked. And when the GOAT conversation comes up, you're right. It's only LeBron and Michael Jordan, and Kareem's never mentioned. Or even Will Chamberlain. Why isn't Will Chamberlain mentioned? He only has every record in the record book.
I don't know, Lou. Why isn't he?
because like I said, people, I guess we're aging out. A bunch of us old timers are dying off. So there's not many of us left to really defend or speak up for Kareem and Wilt. You got all these everybody's got a podcast now, and everybody's a talking head, and everybody seems to be in their 20s, 30s, and 40s, and they just remember Michael Jordan and LeBron and forget that basketball was played long before those guys came into the league. And even Bill Russell. Why isn't Bill Russell ever mentioned? Only 11 championships in 13 years. You think anybody's ever going to approach that? No.
It's crazy.
Nope.
Listen, I have to agree with you. And we talk about, not respecting the past, but Pat Riley was your coach during your title runs. What was it like playing for Pat Riley at that time?
Tough, man. I tell you, let's say Navy SEALs couldn't handle law practices. That's how tough they were. Man, he was tough. He was demanding. He was fair, but Pat Riley doesn't suffer fools. He only wanted real men on his team, guys who took personal responsibility, guys who were always in shape, guys who held themselves accountable. So that's the kind of coach or players that Pat Riley and Jerry West wanted on their team. So there were going to be no knuckleheads tolerated during the Showtime era because he was demanding, and he also has 2 demanding lieutenants, and Kareem and Magic Johnson. So, but Pat Riley was always thoroughly prepared, always had, and he always, I can never understand how, coaches give you the pregame speech, Chandler, before every game. And Rouse, over 82 games, all the pregame speeches were different. He was so smart and so well-read and so book smart and so knowledgeable about history. He'd always equate basketball with some historical event. That's how introspective he was, man. He was just a really smart guy, but a good guy to play for because he treated you fairly, even though he was demanding.
All right, Michael, this has been awesome. We appreciate it. Lou, Chandler, and I, always good to have a good conversation. And you're right. We're ignorant and we don't watch enough film, and that's on us. Exactly. We'll be better next time.
And Michelle, I always say you chose the wrong career path in broadcasting. You should have started a musical group. You know why?
Why?
You got to call them the Beatles. Think about it. Think about that.
Get out of here, Michael. We'll talk soon. Good luck the rest of the way, by the way. It's going to be a good one. We'll be right back.
Okay.